inquiring on the radio to whether his visor and helmet is the same set. Maybe.
Quick question from my side. Is helmet and visor, is this the same as the ladies in FP1?
Yeah, yes it is, Max. In the sky, and that will change things. Shadows ever longer as we see the slow meandering out of the pit lane of the two McLarens, top two drivers in the World Championship coming into this race, but they cannot shake off Max Verstappen, who is the sole contender for Red Bull.
And already other drivers are starting push laps. That is Monaco. The amount of field spread around this 3.3-kilometre circuit means that when you we've got 16 and the rest of them are going to join, all the cars out on circuit, trying to find space for a clear lap is incredibly difficult. We saw a lot of impeding moments, including Lance Stroll earlier on with the actual collision, but there were plenty of other disgruntled drivers. And when you're just cruising out of the pits, the last thing you want to do is have to then do an outlap jumping out of the way of about 10 cars.
Looking down into the Haas garage. Low-speed nature of this circuit to avoid what we saw in the last race where Haas were not competitive. So far in his first full season, 3 times a point scorer, but not for the last 3 races. Lewis Hamilton immediately pushing on. A 3-time Monaco Grand Prix winner. And he's immediately caught the traffic. Lots of moments of brinkmanship, lots of near misses, basically, earlier on in FP1. Hamilton clears the Haas, but was definitely held up there, and the 1 DRS zone is down the main straight. Hamilton out there early on, the yellow walled medium tyre jumps across Sandoval. Used to be a Armco barrier that meant that you couldn't do that, but that was a change made. 2003, there's always minor alterations being made to this circuit. It's got the same rough layout as the original. Raskas meant that the old hairpin that closed the lap had to be widened into a 2-part corner. Alex Brundle was talking us around the New Bell chicane, but it's actually all the way back in its introduction for a quick flick to slightly longer in terms of the 3-part corner in 1986. And this is a wonderful shot. It gives you an idea of how this snakes around itself. You get to 48 corner. Setting a league of his own, driving to the win and clipping the wall. He had one hand on the trophy in 1988. Straight back to his apartment, didn't speak to anyone, didn't go back to the debrief. All parts of the Monaco Pro Tour 3 years.
It's still iconic, isn't it? The Monaco Grand Prix, and seeing Formula 1 cars giving it everything around these tight streets. Just images around the hotel, through the tunnel, flashing into the chicane, to back in the swimming pool. I mean, they're big names, they've seen huge moments of history in the past. I still find it an absolute pleasure to be here and watch Formula 1 cars at full tilt. Practice day and then into qualifying day, which I'm expecting still to be the crucial one, even though we've got this mandated 2-stop race that might jumble the order slightly for Sunday.
Max Verstappen out there on the medium tyre as well. This is to back corner, the left-hander. Into both parts of the swimming pool, brushing the curve. Earlier on he had to take avoiding action to avoid a salver at that part of the circuit. This is officially the 19th and final corner, and he's going to complete the full 2 miles about there, and over the line he goes to go top of the pile of the car that set early.
Kind of in a pace at the end of practice earlier on, Verstappen, and he's kicked off in good vein as well. Medium tyres for most of the field at this point. They're out there on a hard, as is Nico Hulkenberg. They'll try and long run that with some data later on, which could still be incredibly important. And then I'm sure we'll see everyone on the soft. But the soft is actually very similar to the medium. It's the same story as we had in Imola last weekend. And in fact, the feedback from FP1 was that there still wasn't a huge game being on that soft.
All the way to Massenet corner and Alex Brundle, who's watching trackside.
Great bit of racetrack to be watching. 250 kilometres per hour over the top top of the hill for Martinez and see Antonelli go in. They bleed that all the way down to 150 kilometers per hour when they made what is an eventual and very late apex to put themselves in the right position for the right-hander at Casino Square. A couple of things to notice here. Antonelli, who we just saw through, one of the rookies. The rookies are all taking a step in away from the outside of the track on the way in here, whereas the experienced hands demonstrate their confidence. You can see it really clearly with regards to the lines on the road. I'm hearing there's something going on in the track, guys.
We'll be back to you in a moment, Alex. Isaac Hadjar clipping the wall on the way through the Nouvelle chicane, puncturing the tyre and bringing out the red flag.
Threat to, well, he clipped the wall, didn't he, earlier on? A threat to actually have a bigger moment. He's stopped the car on the circuit now. He's clipping the tyre off the rim on the rear. There's the bite out of the wall on the left-hand side on the way into the chicane. And that's what he did earlier on as well. Got too close to the apex, too greedy. He's ever emotive in the cockpit. Cannot believe what's happened.
He's now been told to move, so let everyone go. He's been given the instruction by the team that he will try and bring it back. He's going to have to crawl back here though, because if they spray debris all over the circuit, race control will take a very dim view of that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's doing that. You see the rubber is playing on that inside edge of the left rear. He's obviously snagged as he's turned into too much apex. It's still hanging on, and at this speed, it should be okay. And then we'll wait and see for a replay and see how much damage there might be on this car. If we go on board, he's basically going to turn into too much left-hand apex here.
Nicked it and the damage done immediately.
So I don't know if that's going to be too horrendous a damage. He was massively remonstrating in the car. There's the snag, and then the tyre's just gone pop as he's hit the rim. This is going to be a jump for these guys.
Wakey.
It's not a jump even, is it?
They're too cool for school down there, those marshals. They're used to the cars being close. Isaac Hadjar too close and running the Ayrton Senna tribute livery and applying the power. Spectacular pictures. Parked up, let everyone go through and very, very slowly coaxing it back to the pit lane.
Various carbon fibre bits were flying off there as well, so that's going to be around the rear end bodywork just deposit itself where that tyre has flipped to the inside and started flailing around. He has obviously made it back there. I'd be surprised if there's significant suspension damage there. I don't think that was a massive whack, it's just that where he's caught it, he's just gone straight clean onto the tyre with enough force that it's just popped off.
Let's go down to the pit lane and get an update from Ruth Gossett.
Thank you, Jake. So yes, we've just seen both racing balls, including one of Isaac Hadjar, come back, and actually, just as Jolien said, it didn't look, from the first look, like there was much damage, other than obviously that tyre. Looking at it as it came in, it looked like the floor itself at the back was intact. Now, the engineers, if you see on that first floor there, were looking at the screen the whole time, checking to see if there's any additional information that we can't see by just looking at it. And once again, we see the engineers kind of putting their heads out to actually have a look at the car as it comes straight in. Heath, if we move along, we'll actually be able to see if they are fervently working on the back. A good sign for Isaac Hadjar is there's about an even spread of mechanics on both sides of the garage, which means it probably isn't too much of an issue. Otherwise, you probably start to see people move over to that car. We'll have to wait and see. They've got more data than we do. But it's a good view right now in the pit lane.
The most important thing for Isaac Hadjar is that is not session over. As a rookie driver experiencing Formula 1 Monaco for the first time, and he was very, very handy here in Formula 2. He needs all the track time he can get. We have a neutralised session at the moment after that red flag. Mr. Hadjar momentarily stopping on the circuit. Sam Collins has an update.
Yeah, I think Hadjar actually did something very clever right there. He brought the car to a complete stop until the red flag came out. A new rule was, well, a clarification of the existing rules came out at the beginning of this season after Sergio Perez crashed his Red Bull in Canada last year and drove us back to the pits, shedding various parts around the circuit. Drivers been told not to drive back to the pits in a damaged car. That is considered driving the car in an unsafe condition and gets a penalty. But Hadjar sat with the car until the red flag came out, the track was neutralised, and then drove back to the pits. And I think that was a pretty smart thing to do.
Thank you, Sam. Let's have another look from the heli. It was only a minor brush, but enough to take the car into the barrier, damage the tyre. Wait for it. Here we go. Trying to pinch as much as possible on the apex and damage clear immediately.
Be very surprised if that's not quite a quick turnaround for Racing Bulls, actually. Here we go. This is the shot. Front misses it, but the rear's wider, and there's the white. All looks all right. Looks absolutely fine. I think that'll be quite a quick turnaround, and he'll be back out. There were certainly little flicks of carbon fibre that came off the back, so it might not be perfect, but yeah, I think it'll be okay.
Let's go back to the pit lane. Ruth is standing by, looking at a very, very busy queue at the red light.
A very, very busy queue indeed. He's got his focus all the way there, and you can see they're roughly in reverse championship order. Why is that? Because you have right away. Now, Heath, if we twist around and look at the back end of this queue, we've got the Williams that is slightly slower that we've been sent out. But looking all the way down, you see every single car is in the queue. Very interesting to see the differences between the drivers and how they're weighing. Lando, visor down. Oscar, visor up. It's very much driver preference, and these queues are really rather annoying. And we suddenly have a green light. We'll start to see the drivers. Heath, if you go around the other way, you'll see them slowly pull away and onto the racetrack. But it will take about 1 to 2 minutes for this queue to clear. Bear that in mind. The engineers are going to be calculating this. It's very good data for qualifying in just how long it takes for all of these cars to clear.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Got a couple of cameras down there in the pit lane. Ruth Busman's perspective at a very, very expensive traffic jam that we've got as we wait to see. A really useful point from Ruth there about the teams calculating how long this queue needs to clear, because Charles Leclerc will tell you, if you get your run plan wrong in Q1, you can have a rapid race car. You don't get a chance to prove it, it can undo your weekend. He found that in his first trip to the principality with Ferrari, where he was driving angry in that race, trying to undo the damage, trying to pass people in the corner just to the left-hand side of us, the Rascas.
I think there was definitely something wrong with their steeros. Like the quality of that was really bad.
Look at that one there, salt it overnight.
I think there was definitely something wrong with their steeros. Like the quality of that was really bad.
Look at that one there, salt it overnight.
Vision that he had beforehand, wasn't happy either way.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I mean, Terrace were fairly spec, to be honest. I'd be surprised if there's different ones that he uses, but yeah, from my experience, they were just very thin film of plastic, and you discard them, and I never had a choice to tear off, so I knew there was any variation. But obviously, maybe Max is the more sensitive driver than I ever was. Who'd have thought it?
Carlos Sainz takes his Williams out onto the circuit. James Vowles, his team principal, earlier on. Sainz with a big wiggle through Massenet. Kind of been getting Alex Brundle's attention.
That's for sure. I'm not trackside there. Massive snap for Sainz. If you run wide, generally through Massenet, entry mid-corner, the way that the natural camber there is you just get drawn to the barriers on the outside. You have to sort of turn in fairly early and then target a long apex. And Sainz was getting pretty squirrely towards the exit. I think he's backed right out of that lap. Pushing on. Still working on the back of Hadjar's car, but the driver is still in the cockpit, and I think
having a look, making some alterations, and for Isaac Hadjar's sake, you would hope that they will be able to get him some more time as he tries to find the limit around here in Formula One.
he's incredibly emotional, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I do like a driver who wears their heart on their sleeve, but the one thing, he was asked about this a couple of weeks ago, and in F3, in F2, where he was a title contender in both championships, didn't come away with the largest trophy, but title
panic button.
And we could see him.
That was that, yeah.
He was bobbing around in the cockpit, absolutely furious with what he'd done. And it wasn't even a session ending.
Well, it was in Imola, wasn't it? He made a mistake in Tamburello on his qualifying lap, just banging the steering wheel through the next few corners in frustration that cost him. It might have cost him a couple of places on the grid. You know, they aren't frustrating those mistakes. It might have been costly. And it would go all the way back to Melbourne, of course, where he didn't take the start. We know how heavy he felt that on his what should have been his first race. Super quick in the car, but when things don't go right, you know that he's not happy with it.
Let's send it back to Alex Brundle. Alex, where were we?
I've wandered a little bit round the racetrack to the apex of Casino Square. I just want you to see a couple of things with this one. As a few cars coming through on slower laps. The first flying lap of the session just played out. Arbino scampering over the top of the hill here. I just wanted to give you a feel for how banked it is right on this apex when you can see across the road here. Look how much lower we are down on the apex of Casino Square than the crowd are up there. Then there is a huge amount of undulation through the exit. That's why you see so much movement. Leclerc just come through here with so much commitment. That was the Ferrari that you just saw make the apex. With regards to the different cars on that first flying lap of Verstappen, who's just come through again on a set of medium tyres, looking really, really committed. But both Williams changed direction so nicely in here. They've actually even got a little bit too much front end and kind of have a bit of movement over the top of the hill through the exit of the Casino Square right-hander. The Ferrari looking a little bit more benign. McLaren had quite a nasty reaction over the top of the hill as they try and get the power back on. Antonelli building himself into the session here in the Mercedes. What I was trying to say before I cursed Isaac Hadjar by saying the rookies were staying a long way to the wall, just before he managed to find the wall, was that Antonelli is giving the wall a decently wide berth on the way into Massenet, and he's also doing so both on the apex of Casino Square and also through the exit, building into their session. Looks like we've got Oscar Piastri off now, guys.
Oscar Piastri into the barriers at Saint-Devote, and Dip Leader into the wall at Saint-Devote, the man chasing his first win in the Principality this weekend. Finished second last year. He's lucky it's only the front wing that's gone.
Lucky boy. Wow. It's not often you have that level of impact with the barriers at Saint-Devote. You said earlier on which is the one that you need to survive and where can you attack. Saint-Devote is one that just invites you to miss the breaking point.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Put the car back very carefully.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Put the car back very carefully.
Yeah. Difficult braking zone, moving towards the right. Bang. But perfectly square to the barrier, which means it will just be the front wing. He's not done damage to the suspension. I think he'll get away with that. He can come back in, change the nose, change the front wing, and get back on his way. Incredible.
Yeah, nudging the Tech Pro. It's worth saying it's the Tech Pro, not the Armco that he's gone into. You've got the Armco further down the corner on the exit.
But still, if you put any angle on that, it's going to bite. The fact that he's gone in square means that, like you said, he's left the front wing behind. The red flag came out prematurely. There's only a front wing that can be cleared off, and there's no car left to recover. The marshals do a great job of recovering cars around here as well. The world's best and quickest clear-up operations. They haven't had to do one yet because 2 red flags and the drivers have cleared up themselves. And in comes Oscar.
Ruth
Brown
Buscombe.
looking moody there on the top of the building, not a pit wall.
Ruth Buscombe, we've got another car.
Yeah, another car right in front of me, parked. And to be honest, other than that front wing, as you say, so lucky coming flat into Saint-Devote. You can see those cooling fans, they need to go in straight away. Because the one thing, if we can't get that front wing off straight away, is that the cooling at the front of the car can become quite critical. We're now going to see if they can replace that front wing immediately, which is not the case on Charles Leclerc's car. If they can, and the way that adjustment is on, it's almost like putting together a bed from one of those shops that to cost you a front wing.
Thank you, Ruth. 37 minutes to go, 2 red flags, both cars able to escape. And Charles Leclerc, who's the quickest driver, as he was earlier on, and studying the data, that's the McLaren front wing, recovered by the marshals at Saint-Devote.
Lovely souvenir. Almost completely intact still. That front wing just detached from the main car itself. But they are been recovered. Marshall will keep their beady eyes on that for the remainder of the hour.
Wait, these guys think this. I'm really practice. To me, that's unacceptable. That kind of competing is in that swimming pool.
It was Gabriel Bortoletto that Max tripped over at the second part of the swimming pool earlier on, and it was Gabriel Bortoletto there that did it.
Wait, these guys think this. I'm really practice. To me, that's unacceptable. That kind of competing is in that swimming pool.
So we're queued up once again, and we're going to get a resumption of the session. Will be in a couple of moments' time, 17:24 local time. Waiting for that green light at the end of the pit lane. Excited for Alex Runnels' third trackside hit, because every single time we go to him, we get an instant crash into the wall. I'm being told there won't be one, but we'll see about that to the gallery, because it's providing plenty of action. P3, I'm being told, is the next Alex Runnels track here. That's the danger session, isn't it? That's the risky one, where you can blow your chances in qualifying.
And yet I was desperate to see what was going on at Mirabeau in this session. We will wait with bated breath.
We will still bring you all the angles as we have a look at the McLaren, the championship leader, Oscar Piastri, trying to be the first Australian driver to win the Formula 1 World Championship since Alan Jones in 1980.
So the car's okay. The new tyres go on in their blankets. The new front wing goes on and was just being adjusted to the right angle that Oscar wants. And he will rejoin the session as well very shortly. So he's actually lost nothing by having a significant impact into the wall at Saint-Devote.
Here's Kimi Antonelli. Only 2 Italians have ever won the Monaco Grand Prix in the championship era. Jolyon Palmer, can you name one of the 2 Italians to win the Monaco Grand Prix in the championship era, started in 1950?
I think Riccardo Patrese won the Monaco Grand Prix.
He's got 1, can he get the second? We were talking about this in the production office yesterday.
The second Italian to have won the Monaco Grand Prix, Yannick Trulli.
Yes, ding, 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 ding. Jolyon Palmer's got the knowledge. And I can tell you, all done honestly, not looking at any notes off the top of his head. Kimi Antonelli will love that stat. The reason that he'll love that stat, both of those winners, first time winners. And if he becomes the third, would be the same thing as well. Took a sprint pole, and his first run quicker than George Russell on the medium tyre as he makes his way through Massenet. This is Casino, and we make our way down to Mirabeau Corner, where all the action started earlier on. To the hairpin, originally the station hairpin, because that hotel was the station. Then they moved it, and he's back. There we go. The history lesson can continue, but it's slow speed. We go through Portier Corner. Told you that Ayrton Senna made that famous. They've reclaimed a bit of land from the sea to build some more apartments. One thing Monaco is lacking is apartments, and this is over the bump on the way down to Mirabeau, and in a few moments time he's going to bail out of it. Whoa! Didn't see that from the overhead angle. Didn't catch it.
So he washed just fractionally wide at the apex, just understeered a little bit, and that took him wide on the exit, where he then had a lot more steering to do to get round that the jutting bit of Armco just in there that really catches you out as you need to sort of straight line it. That's what caught Charles Leclerc / Lance Stroll out earlier on in their incident. Antonelli with too much steering to do. traction is difficult around this place as well. Soft tyres help, but as soon as you've got steering lock and you're trying to lay down 1,000 horsepower, it's not an easy thing to manage.
Incident involving Oliver Bearman has been noted for the red flag infringement. I don't know if I can remember off the top of my head what that would have been.
If you go too quick under a red flag condition, you have a delta that you need to abide by. You could overtake them under red flag conditions. I didn't see it, but it's something that has to look into. Again, red flag infringement. So if it's a bad one, it could be a back of the grid start. It's very serious.
Okay, different programs going on right now. Fernando Alonso's just gone top on the soft tyre, and he didn't leave much on the exit in the second part of the swimming pool. Charles Leclerc continuing on the white wall, the hard tyre. He goes over the line with the fastest final sector of anyone so far. For a man who was downright unhappy with his Ferrari, considering that they weren't expecting this car to be good at low speed, it's pretty effective on a hard tyre for Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton on a medium has the fastest first sector of anyone, sector 1, sector 2. You've got Lando Norris out there on a medium at exactly the same time, and the 3-time winner of the Monaco Grand Prix is top.
I think he's still got quite a lot of margin as well to the barriers for Hamilton. He of course had the big hit into the barriers and the launch as well at the second part of the swim pool, which is one of the last things he did in FP1. So making sure he doesn't do that on this first run of FP2. He's quick, but it would look like he just had a little more margin than some of the others. Experienced, Lewis, and you can lean on it, but wait until you're really on the points and you start attacking the last little bit.
Charles Leclerc reporting there's some debris in the braking zone in turn 10, which is where Isaac Hadjar flipped the barrier earlier on. Had to look at the track map there. Turn 10 will be called doing the corner names all the way through. Drivers, of course, keep it to the numbers. Pierre Gasly is showing himself on soft rolling tyres. Himself trying to get past the Aston. That's the biggest get on with it of the season so far, isn't it?
It's up there. It's up there. I'm in that.
Carlos Sainz finding himself in close proximity with Lewis Hamilton. Lance Stroll, as you've seen, the team have repaired things. It's two-stop strategy rule for this Grand Prix, which is going to mean that low end, you're going to be rolling the dice as you go through Casino Square, looking at how high the speed is. Plunges down the hill once again. Driver who was a little bit frustrated with the strategy that he got. He's got 3-point scores in a row. I think given the pace of the car overall, it was a surprise at Imola for the team. Alex Albon saying yesterday, their pace, they expected to be quick in Miami. They were happily surprised that they were quick in Imola. But if you consider that they have already passed their 2023 and 2024 combined points total, and they're only at round 8, Williams 5th place in the Constructors, scoring in the last 3 races with both cars 51 points, and a team on the up.
It'll take some catching for teams further back to get on top of that. There's enough races that a good run of results for Haas, Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, they can do it, but big on points they've scored. Albon has been banking most of them. He's had such an amazing run at the start of this year. Sainz has been a bit unlucky in the last couple of races. Was very unlucky not to do better in Imola. Was probably actually the stronger Williams driver, but just didn't get the rub of the green on strategy. And Miami as well, it didn't fall Sainz's way. There was a little tuck between the two Williams. There was a sort of team order between the two Williams as well. Someone's not getting their delivery earlier later. Lost in the post, I think that's what that goes down as.
Sorry you weren't in, we missed you. But Charles Leclerc did not. Esteban Ocon currently in 20th position and finding himself caught by the Red Bull.
What is he doing? What is he doing?
He was not delighted with the placement. Everyone's been a tad grumpy, haven't they, out there with cars impeding them so far. And further round the lap, rush of the barrier. And that was Ocon as well. That was Ocon, not Behrman.
Yeah, ever closer in that second part of the swimming pool. It's the entry that really sets that up. Let's see Charles Leclerc on a soft tyre. So he's run that hard so far. This is this man from FP1 getting pretty close to that barrier on the exit of the chicane. Now coming into the fast corners, as he jumps out of the way, Leclerc's putting the sectors together. Very nicely over the curve, not much margin.
Charles Leclerc, a master of extracting one lap pace here. Final corner of the racetrack. Biggest day in motor racing a year ago, but seems a long time ago as he goes to the top. He goes to the top by 0.4 of a second. Let's get another vantage point and throw to Ruth, who's got a view of Lando Norris.
Oh, I've got a view of everything down here. Now, we talk a lot about track evolution. Monaco is one of the only places in the world you can actually see it. I'm here in the pit lane with a view of this famous Stormpool chicane. And it will give you a lovely view as you see cars going through of that racing line beginning to form as the rubber is physically laid down. Now, drivers want to take as much of that red curve that is turning slack as possible. They'll go faster. We've just seen Charles Leclerc take a lot of that curve. You can see Lewis taking it right now. It's staying settled. That shows that the car has got great mechanical properties. You can see some of the cars like the Haas bouncing a lot more. Now, what Heath is also going to show you is this DJ deck. Now, it's one of the only places in the world where how good the party is makes the track worse, because this will be opened up. There will be people having a lot of fun today, and the more champagne that gets spilled on that bit of racetrack, the dirtier the track is and the slower the track will be. Even though they clean it up, it will wash away all of that rubber as they do so, which means the drivers, they don't start by zero, but they start close to zero in this part. It's one of the most critical areas of the film. You have to get it right. Just get as close as you can to that barrier. You have to ride as much of that curve as possible without touching that yellow core. Very, very interesting. Always want to check on the strategist how good the party is, because you'll be able to estimate how good the track is the next day.
I love it. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, underneath the pit lane there are multiple restaurants and clubs, and you spill straight out onto the circuit, and the barriers come along, and that affects the surface of the circuit. Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso. Thank you to Ruth, thank you to Heath, our MVP of the day so far, one of our very fine camera operators on F1 TV, helping Ruth tell the story down there in the pit lane. And Oliver Behrman, personal best sector 1, no ordinary sector 2, even when it's not going to plan. Oh, there we go, into the Armco.
It looked lively before, and then he touched the wall.
So that's both Hasses at exactly the same part of the circuit. Here's Lance strolling the way at the end. Oliver Behrman has had a hairy couple of corners.
He's gotten away with it as well. Same with Ocon, they're both rushing up to that wall. Oh, he looked like he was sliding through the swimming pool, which is just incredible, really, to be hanging on to it. That's this part coming up now with Charles Leclerc. Next flash looks really under control for Leclerc. Can he put together a final second? That's where Behrman flipped the barrier there, ran up against it. Raskas, Leclerc's got a good front end. He's got a car just ahead of him. I don't think he's going to catch it, which is good news for him onto the curb. Oh, it's just breathtaking to watch these guys.
He is flying. If you consider last Grand Prix, no Ferrari in the top 10. First time in F1 history that that was the case. Charles Leclerc absolutely switched on, like for like, Lando Norris. 0.4 of a second.
Verstappen on a soft as well. So Norris is getting nowhere near Leclerc. Verstappen's getting even to Norris, let alone Leclerc. Max is on the soft as well. He's been through the pits as he did earlier on. The second straight. Coming to
You predict a Charles Leclerc podium in
I was singing Ferrari's praises. I was singing their for the weekend at least anyway. And I've just been surprised with how they're obviously coming from a weekend where they've been on home soil in Imola. It's not gone at all to plan when they qualified 11th and 12th, and they're feeling like they've got the tail between their legs. That was
There's the
there.
push.
Yeah, the lower shot made it look like more of a swipe. It was a nudge. It was Nice, got away with it.
Track signage will be down there. That advertising hoarding needs replacing.
Yeah, it won't just be there either. There's going to be plenty of work for them to do tonight. Yeah, I still think Leclerc around this place is just brilliant. It's one of those ones that there's certain circuits, certain drivers thrive. This is a driver's circuit, absolutely blatantly. I mean, it's an incredible journey around this track. Drivers can make such a difference, and I think Leclerc does around here. Ferrari are low speed right now. It doesn't look like Friday. They're not going to get carried away in more mind, but I think they're going with a shot from what we're seeing at the very least.
Let's see previous years. Turn up to Monaco, just be able, no matter what sort of season they were having, they'd always be in contention. Alex Albon not having the entry lap that he wanted. It goes again.
Hamilton's on the top time now. We picked him up for the second half of the lap. That's true. He's done a personal best in the middle. So let's see Lewis coming through the end of the lap, right up to that inside barrier. A little bit more margin to the outside wall there. He's running wide. He's deep on the brakes. Raskas carrying good entry speed. Maybe missing a bit coming out. He'll drive to the line.
And he moves up to third.
It doesn't quite look as zippy, does it? Leclerc just seems like he's got maybe a bit more front end and maybe a bit more confidence to throw the car into the corners, be aggressive with it, have it moving around that little bit more. Hamilton's third is half a second away from his teammate, and the attitude of the two cars just looked a little bit different on that half a lap.
So Max Verstappen going again, personal best in the first sector, and now he rotates the car through the corner where Isaac Hadjar clipped it earlier on, through to back, which you can't believe the speed they take through to back when you watch it trackside, kicking up dust that very few other drivers have as well on the exit of the corner. That was right to the barrier. So this is going to be a personal best for Max Verstappen. But what sort of weekend is it going to be for the reigning world champion? Is it going to be just you cannot get close enough to contend, or can he get within that 0.2 of a second that gives him hope? 7 tenths of a second behind Alex Albon and the Williams.
I like the trying. Lively out there, right up in the barriers, but just not giving him the pace at the moment. Not able to car rotated from the gas. Russell then, soft tyres for him in the Mercedes. At the moment down in 12th with the field fairly close around here. See him in the second part of his lap. Cutting around to all sorts of dramatic shots.
Not sure we'll see that again. George is getting the full director's cut as we make our way through the final corner. His best result in F1 around here, 5th place. That's what he's managed. He's chasing his first podium in the World Championship around here. 7th, we finished the last Grand Prix. Right, everyone else appears to be driving practice. Every time we go on board with Charles Leclerc, it feels like qualifying.
So let's go again, front to back, through to the end of the lap. Early on the brakes, but very quickly to the throttle as well. Out closer to the wall than we've seen through this first part of the swimming pool. The front end is good into Raskas. He's getting right to that second apex. Struggling slightly to traction maybe this time coming out of that final corner. Did he have to blend out of it? I don't know, it was pretty quick either way.
There we go. Top 2 times in the session then for Charles Leclerc. That one just the 100th back on what he managed earlier on, but he is looking alive behind the wheel of that car. Car responding in a way that it just hasn't responded so far.
No one is doing the 10. So destructive. Why they missed the corner? Why you allowed to? I mean,
Fernando Alonso, have you spliced 2 pieces of action together there? Maybe a team.
Maybe some people are just deliberately driving off track on slow laps just to give the tyres an easier time, to make sure they're not impeding someone. Not technically correct. If you're getting out of the way, then you can, but
if you can't just opt out.
you can't just opt to not do the corners on cooldown laps, no.
Sounds like some chat for the drivers briefing. There's Isaac Hadjar back out there. Team have repaired the damage, and he moves up to 16th position. Driver who has 3-point scores in Formula 1 since he joined the championship. Just the 6 starts because obviously he didn't take the lights in Melbourne. a good start to his time in the championship as we check back in with Norris.
Is Lawson back in the Red Bull? Third. He's got third.
Lawson in third position at a track where he's been competitive in the junior championships. Had a great battle with Oscar Piastri here a few years ago. George Russell going again. That's a mighty lap for Liam Lawson and encouragement for the New Zealander, who's been through the ringer a bit at the start of this campaign. Just trying to rediscover a rhythm and work his way back to the top 10, which is the aim.
Russell was all out of sorts with oversteer at the Portier. Lawson has in the racing bulls car. Now this car has been working well at low speed for years now for this team. And this car this year has been good as well. Traffic paradise there.
Hey, team players. How close was he to the wall? Super close to that wall. Oh my word. It's all said to me. Look closer.
It does look closer, doesn't it? He also was nailing that apex curve right over it. I wasn't sure if that was going to bounce towards the barriers on the exit. Hamilton has now gone second with that lap. We've just missed him. He's on the fastest final sector of anyone. So I wonder if Lewis has just been winding it up for a few laps, and now he's delivered something comparable to his teammate, and it's a Ferrari 1-2 on Monaco Friday. What? Where's this come from?
At the moment, he's looking at a very, very smug summer. If this form continues.
I wasn't brave enough to go Ferrari win, I have to say, but I went for the podium.
Here's a call with the press conference to this. One of the early questions were Charles, he didn't get up this week, but his answer was no, not on the evidence of this year. Then every question was like, oh, but hold on, Charles. Driver can make a difference for him. He's like, yeah, I guess so, but equally, you're not seeing the data I'm seeing. One day on, 1-2. Formula 1, eh?
The whole team were just downbeat about it. They were all downbeat.
So what does Andrea Stella know that Ferrari didn't? Because he was very, very clear. Sam was telling us earlier on, he was very, very clear he thought Ferrari were going to be the key threat. And having a very good Friday. The one thing we have seen across the course of this year, how you progress your weekend, Friday into Saturday, thought masters of that, given the gap on the timing page, you're going to have to be again.
And the fact that Tsunoda is matching Verstappen pace, it tells me that there's more in there for Max. Not to be disrespectful to Yuki, but he's not been near Max in qualifying yet.
The evidence of earlier, the gap was a second over.
So it's much better for Tsunoda to be up in the top 10, but I think Max has got more in the tank. Has Oscar got more in the tank, and he's taking that fastest middle sector away from Charles.
Oscar Piastri snaking all over the road. Thought there was going to be second barrier ahead of the session. He's 0.3 of a second away, but it wasn't chilled by the man behind the wheel. The last couple of corners.
Not many good Monaco laps are chilled, I'll tell you that. It's not the sort of one where smooth is necessarily the fastest way. It's all about a hustle around this circuit, which is why it's just breathtaking to watch all these laps come in. Piastri's then building up to it. He's also been through the pit, so he's made a change to the setup on the soft tyres, and that was another attempt then, another first car on a second run. On the softs in total, and he's getting there. So I think I'm expecting Verstappen to get much closer. I'm expecting McLaren to find something as well, and that's an indication that there's more in there. When if you put another set of soft tyres, we'd find it. Better as well.
Well, Oscar Piastri had a really good middle sector of the lap, but it's his teammate Lando Norris who's found it difficult to get that McLaren to be compliant consistently on the edge all season long.
It goes again as he's opened the DRS. So he's had the first moment, which was a not insignificant moment, and then he's turned around the corner, not hit the wall. Opened the DRS, and the rear's still jumping out at him. He must have kept his foot buried because the DRS didn't shut there either, so he's just controlled it. And it's absolutely on the limit there for Piastri. The tyres are probably, I'm sure they're past their best now on that McLaren, and the fact that he still dug out the time. Yes, there's a bit of track evolution, maybe negates the tyres going away, but I'm sure that there's more in there for him.
12 minutes to go. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have across the course of the day. Drivers on the limit around the circuit that dares them closer and closer to the wall. Just happened, having a check of where he is on the circuit. He's got the medium tyre on now. So he's in the data gathering phase of things. Sending into the Sander Rock corner. Isaac Hadjar. Look at that for a top six. Leclerc, Hamilton, Piastri, Norris, Lawson, Hadjar, Ferrari, McLaren, Racing Ford. Would have been the order predicted by precisely no one, I think, at the start of the action today.
So we've still got 7 different cars in the top 10. Verstappen in 10th, and Racing Bull was 5th and 6th. Aston Martin, Alonso's not scored a point this year, up in 7th as well, having a quietly decent day. Piastri's going again.
Well, this is all action stuff from Oscar Piastri. He's absolutely ragging the McLaren around the 19 corners and getting a tune out of it, improving on old soft tyres. Are we beginning to see a little bit more of the true picture at the end there? 300ths away from Charles Leclerc as he pushes on, and Isaac Hadjar's entertaining day is going to have another clip for the highlight reel. He's quick, but he's got a little bit of hoarding wrapped around his front left.
Must have brushed up against the wall and it's just taken something clean up. What for the hoarding group to do tonight? I'm sure they need to first of all figure out where it's come from.
Yeah, they book a late dinner. Is that car yawing? He's got damage, hasn't he? Yeah, he's got damage. He's got suspension damage.
Yeah, oh, it's left rear actually. There's not right. So it might have done the same thing again, you know, where it was the left rear early on. It's crabbing. You can see it there really badly. So he's steering right to the right because that left rear is pointing at an angle. And he's going to get that one back, but he won't be going anywhere when he does.
Man, I am so stupid. I think I just
Rookie trying to be quick in Formula 1. I know expectations are high, but equally trying to get up to speed around here with no margin for error. 52nd.
Man, I am so stupid. I think I just
Or it becomes weekend defining in the Monaco Grand Prix, and the rookie driver not giving himself any leeway at all, expecting high standards. The man born in Paris is back to the pit lane, and he is back to bring a damaged car to his mechanic. But the encouraging thing, look at where he is. With his first Formula 1 trip on the timing page is in P6. And there's more work to do down there for the fan interface team.
So if he had just gone to 6th position, because in theory he'd be doing a slow lap at this point. And he's got barriers. But maybe that's why he got too proud of himself for that little way to see a really difficult game.
The rear steps out, all the hard work completed, P6 on the board, that hitting the arm rather than the check rope, flush like you saw earlier.
Too close to the wall.
We're not exactly obliged to say it, because you've apparently got a habit of reading out the graphic, and that is the damage that told the story. He has, again, made it back, so they can immediately get on with the repair job.
But that's going to be rear suspension damage, I think, for Hadjar there. That was him flouting that on the angle, and I think he backed off. I don't think he was pushing again. I think he had backed off and simply had a lapse in concentration. There was arrows as he was coming across the line saying there's someone coming out of the pits. Was he looking down at his lap time? I'm not sure, but he backed off it. It sounded like he'd backed off it, but still just didn't hit the brakes hard enough, didn't slow the car down, turned in, and then suddenly realised that the corner's coming up quick and he's carrying too much speed. I think that's why
also out there, 2 seconds off the pace. So I'm just trying to get back up to speed in Formula 1 generally. His 10th start in Formula 1, winning his first of the season. And now has to match it up the performance from Monaco. They're fairly easy.
I'm just thinking it really didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, we've spoken about the crew and Colapinto swap.
The cars are going reverse.
I was going to ask you earlier, how hard is it to find reverse gear in a Formula 1 car?
He's got it, so he has found it. So reverse gear is a very small gear that you very rarely need, and technically there's a procedure for it. It's quite easy. You go into neutral, you can only access it from neutral.
The cars are going reverse.
The downshift, and after a few seconds it will take reverse. It's on purpose pretty difficult to find because it would be a bad one to accidentally have, and Max has eventually managed to pick that out, but sometimes it's tough. You very rarely use it. It's small gear, and it will just be enough to basically idle your way out of a moment like this, and Max is very cautious of that one, not turning into the mirror didn't want to find the barriers on the long run. So yeah, Alpine, we've spoken about the doing Colapinto swap, but when this is his second race, I don't think Franco's helped himself by having the qualifying crash in Imola, because that's a bit of a confidence sapper, especially on the back of some crashes at the end of last year. Then you come to Monaco, tough one, and we've seen so many drivers in Hamilton almost hit the barriers early on, have a massive launch. We've seen Piastri hit the barriers of times actually, one of which was a solid hit at Sandebon. You know, the top drivers are having incidents. It's so easy to crash it. I mean, I really can't overstate how difficult just driving this circuit near the paces, let alone trying to push to the last 10 quarters. So for Colapinto, this being his second race, having already had the crash at Imola, he really doesn't need to be having another crash hit to count against him, and he needs to prove everything. And I think that's why we're seeing him just off the pace. It's kind of an impossible challenge this way.
Franco Colapinto's first visit to Monaco in Formula 1. Debut with the Williams team last year, but that began in Monza, the second half of the season. Monaco means that the teams have to run in specific settings, and Sam Collins is going to show us a comparison of one of those settings around the Monaco circuit. Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I've just found something quite interesting on Max Verstappen's car. We just saw him out-brake himself. What I want to show you is the front brake ducts here. This is the specification that Max is running today. You can see it's quite big. It's got these extra elements in the middle. It's got all of these segments down here that are quite interesting. What I want to show you is compare that to last year's front brake setup, which is quite different. Max Verstappen's car isn't that different in terms of configuration, but have a look here. Much tighter, extra element down here. But a lot less front brake cooling. This is the outlet, of course. Now, when I compare that shot to this shot, which is the exact same car, but a year later, look how much bigger the front brakes are on Verstappen's car. It's still segments down here, but a totally different shape, totally revised. It's a bit of a strange setup, I think, and I'm not entirely sure what Red Bull has discovered compared to other teams, but when you see how much more complex this is, it's a big departure for the Red Bull team to change their front brake setup this much. There's something different going on there. Red Bull are doing something interesting with their front brakes because it's the same circuit, same driver, and same car concept. Why are those front brakes so much bigger? They found something in the wind tunnel, and it's not just about brake cooling. I just don't entirely know what it is, but it's fascinating and one to keep an eye on. Certainly isn't helping him slow down the car a little bit too much, though, is it?
Thank you, Sam. Sam poring over all of the images across the course of a Formula 1 weekend to give us insight like that, to be able to show us the different approaches being taken to strive for the most efficient package possible to try and win the race that everyone wants, the Monaco Grand Prix. First run in 1929 before the World Championship at Eden. So 2 minutes to go. The order on the left-hand side is going to remain the same unless someone fancies a late glory run, but they're in the data gathering part of FP2 now. We've shown you plenty out there on the circuit. We've had Alex Frundle around the Red Bull. That is you can walk around the perimeter of this circuit, but that is a part of the racetrack where it isn't wide at all. The marshals, we've already touched on how good the marshals are around here. They take so much pride in clearing up the cars as quickly as possible. There are some corners where the crane is in position. Sandoval got one ready to go in case anyone sticks it in the barrier. Oscar Piastri did earlier on, but went in square, lost the front wing, but was able to continue in the session. Isaac Hadjar was able to escape his first brush with the wall at the Nouvelle chicane, second one after the lap was posted. He wasn't even pushing on, just the rear end stepping out. Unfortunately, that's meant another repair job down for the Racing Bulls. The Red Bull, they find themselves 10th and 11th. Max Verstappen saying that the team don't make it easy for themselves. They know that they are strong at finding improvement from Friday to Saturday. They also know that the circuits that's been impressive this year, where they're taking their wins, the high-speed Imola, high-speed Suzuka, this is the slowest average speed of the year. Circuit that Max Verstappen has won it twice in his career. We go on board with the reigning Formula 2 champion, Gabriel Bortoleto, pressing that barrier back. They all get invited to do that. Get too greedy, back out, do damage like we saw Max Verstappen many years ago now. Third practice, open the door for Daniel Ricciardo to claim his Monaco win. After a heartbreak of 2016, when the timing of the pit stop and the logistics of this place that year was the defining factor. The right tyres were too far back. This is an incredible race from a logistical point of view. The team's having to work in very narrow confines. As we check in with Max Verstappen, completing his day. Just 30 seconds of the session left. We're riding on board with the man who is heading to the Nouvelle chicane. Max Verstappen has been on this tyre for 9 laps now in the long run part. Get all the long run times later on. That is where we found out last week that Ferrari, whilst the 1 lap pace was downright horrible, their race pace was actually good. And the only so Max Verstappen set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix last time. The second fastest was Lewis Hamilton. So Ferrari really did have excellent race pace last time out, but they were expecting to struggle with the slow stuff. Not the case. As the checkered flag flies, it's Charles Leclerc who has posted the fastest time, driver chasing his 4th Formula 1 pole position tomorrow around the Monaco streets. And it would be his 27th for Ferrari. Only Michael Schumacher has more, and you can have a look at the average time out there. It's happy viewing. Charles Leclerc for Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen looking better on a long run, and McLaren finding themselves not quite where they want to be, not where they've become accustomed to be, which is always really in the top 3 or challenging for the top 3 this year. And both McLaren drivers have 6 podiums out of 7 races, and that has been a thoroughly enjoyable practice Friday at the Monaco Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton completing things. So Fernando Alonso was really irritated all the way through that session, and everyone's tripping over each other. Had to be told by his race engineer to worry about it later, but it does show you that, and in comparison to previous years, it really does feel like there was a lot of incidents when it comes to tripping over each other. And we've certainly seen plenty of action out on track today. You can see that Kimi Antonelli finds himself in 9th position. Isaac Hadjar has a great time as well out there. There's only Liam Lawson, so plenty of rookies in the field already this year, but there's plenty of drivers getting used to driving around the 19 turns of Monaco in Formula 1 machinery. And Liam Lawson, having proven himself behind the wheel of a Formula 2 car on these streets, finds himself with a really strong session with P5 on the board. His teammate P6, but with a couple of taps of the wall. And now we're into the practice start phase of things. At the very end of the day, George Russell down in P12, slightly out of character for his super consistent season. Always finishing in the top 10 this year, only once finishing outside the top 5. There's Jack Doohan watching on. Driver who was attending as reserve in Imola, having been in the race seat, of course, for the opening races of the year. And he doesn't look too far away from where he's watching at the moment, but at the moment he is just spectating. Frankie Colapinto, a reminder for you, the team giving the information that he's in that car for 5 races. A little bit of debate about whether that was the case going forward, but that's what the team said. Either way, at the moment, Jack Doohan can only watch on. But it has been a day to revel in watching trackside and wonderful pictures. Never take that for granted around the Monaco Grand Prix, showing you more of it than we ever have. Okay, let's do the 20 drivers in the order that they had their fastest time. Charles Leclerc with a 1:11.355, finding himself fastest in practice 1, in practice 2. He had a gap over Oscar Piastri of 0.03 of a second. Lewis Hamilton making it a very good day for Ferrari in 3rd position. Then it's Norris ahead of Liam Lawson, shot in the arm for his season. He brought his teammate as well, Hadjar.